Welcome to the Taproom Exclusive. I'm Dean Zarbaugh. I'm here at Jolly Scholar. We're down in the brew house, which is really nice. I really like being in the rooms here. I'm with Matt Vann. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing all right. You are the owner of said brewery, the Jolly Scholar. Talk a little bit about this place. How did Jolly Scholar come about? You were a bar first, right?
Correct. So we started, my wife and I, 13 years ago, came out of the video game business, and a buddy of mine who ran our campus pub at UCF down in Central Florida just mentioned that, hey, there's this opportunity in Cleveland, Ohio. They don't think they're going to take the opportunity. Would I be interested in it? And I'd never been in the beer business or the food business or the bar business, and always been in the sunshine. So my wife and I came up in the middle of February, and it was just terrible snow, and we honestly, truly just kind of fell in love with it. And we saw that we thought the opportunity was good, and we were young enough and foolish enough, and we just said, all right, let's do it. And then just kind of how it's transpired over the years, the first people that would ever write us insurance was Lloyd of London. And then after that, we started off with 4 beer taps, no liquor. And then we went from 4 beer taps to 4 beer taps with liquor. And then we went back to the university and said, hey, this craft beer thing is something we want to, I think, be involved in. And about 9 years ago now, we evolved from 4 taps to 24. And then about 4 years ago now, we went back and said, hey, what if we started making our own? And I was a home brewer at the time that was very much a novice, and just was excited about the thought of it and pitched it to them, and they said yes. And then I kind of had to grow up real quick and start figuring some things out, and that's kind of how we got to where we're at today.
So for those that don't know, you are actually located on the Case Western Reserve campus.
Yeah, correct. We are basically, well, not basically, we are the student union at Case Western.
Okay.
Yep. It's quirky and weird, and we always kind of tout ourselves as the hardest brewery in Cleveland to find. But I think you did it right today by
Ubered.
By subscribing to Uber and just dropping you off at the address and asking the first kid and saying, where is this place? And that's probably the best method, the easiest method. But we're a conquest if nothing else.
Well, I'm from the west side, way out there. My parents are out from LaGrange. I live in Lakewood, but I don't get out this way very much. And when I get into areas I don't quite know that are around college campuses and downtown and all that stuff, I have to kind of let somebody else drive because I just have the anxiety. I'm like, I'm just going to enjoy this. So what was it? When did you start home brewing?
So when I pitched it to the university, I had been home brewing for probably about 6 months.
Okay.
So I was rolling out terrible stuff, just terrible temperature control stuff, and really proud of it, but it was just bad stuff, and kind of funny. I found the first beer I ever made. My wife took 6 of the bottles out. I don't know how the caps didn't pop on them, and she hid them, and she forgot about them. We stumbled into them last year.
Oh, wow.
And for our holiday party, for our blind gift exchange, I gave 6 of of my first beer ever, and they were surprisingly okay. It was like a Belgian, of course, right? You start home brewing, you walk right into like a Belgian quad,
right.
And it was tons of flaws to it, but way over carbonated, and
you gotta learn.
But it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but definitely some bad beer overall.
Well, what was it that made you want to get into doing this as a bar originally if you hadn't actually started home brewing yet? What was the idea there that sparked the move
to become a brewery?
To get into, you had no restaurant experience, beer experience going into opening Jolly Scholar as a bar.
Yeah.
What was it that made you decide to make that jump?
I just love new challenges. I've been involved in so many different things, and my wife has been pretty flexible in allowing me to try a lot of different things, from video games to bar business to, okay, hey, we're going to be at a brewery now, to harvesting palmetto berries. People are like, what are you talking about? And to online poker websites, all legal.
There you go.
But so I jumped all around. I've just always been, not that I'm looking to just get bored with something. I'm just looking to, enjoy it. I want to be able to enjoy it. And honestly, we got to the point here where things were great. Sales were great. Business was great. Everything was easy and everything was fun. And I was just starting to get bored with it. And that was kind of like the next level of like, hey, let's turn the brewery piece on. And again, I think that's for me what I get the most enjoyment out of is growing, seeing things evolve, and taking them as far as I can take them before handing them off or finding other people who we can create some opportunities for them, to grow and become full time or salaried or whatever the case may be, and then look for the next big thing, which is what we're looking at now.
Nice.
Maybe out in Richfield.
Ooh,
maybe.
Interesting. You heard it here first.
Maybe
Heard it here first. So we are currently drinking the Henry's Law. This is a white IPA.
Correct.
What's the difference? IPA, white IPA. What distinguishes them?
Yeah, it's so this has got a little bit more wheat in it. So it's going to get a little bit more maybe of a creamier mouthfeel on this one. But we wanted this was literally the first beer we put out, and I'm really proud of this, this beer because when I was in college, to drink anything, pale ale was just, when Sierra Nevada came out, as you've heard 1,000 times, it was just the game changer.
Right.
But every beer leading up to, those kinds of styles were just, it's a brown ale. Okay, that's fun. A Killian's even at the time was kind of groundbreaking when I was in college, and then you'd start to get into some other stuff. So when I hit, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, that was the one that kind of really turned the light switch on for me. And we knew, being on a college campus, we knew that the students and the population here were evolving faster. They've grown up with, the Food Network in the background, and so they're a little bit more savvy than what I was as a college student. But we knew we wanted something that just would be refreshing and sessionable, and the mouthfeel we knew we wanted it to come up, and we actually designed this beer with a student, Henry was his name, and a home brewer as well. And Aaron, and I kind of sat down and went through it and talked about it. And this was literally the first rev we came up with, and has been our most popular beer even to this day. But we knew we wanted it to be, somewhat sessionable at 6%. I thought that's kind of a crazy number to think 6% is sessionable anymore. But
in this market,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's low level stuff now. So that was kind of the thought is, we wanted something that if for anybody who likes hoppy stuff, it was hoppy enough.
Right.
For anybody who was willing to go through the process of, a blonde ale or a light lager, and allow us to kind of slowly evolve them and graduate them through the beer, food chain, that when they landed on this beer and we said, okay, you're ready for your first hoppy beer, that it was, refreshing, and it was easy to drink, and it didn't just make you, make it feel like you were just chewing on a straight hop cone for 30 minutes.
Yeah. And, IPAs driving the market right now. This is my first time here. This is a fantastic IPA.
Yeah.
It stands out very well in the market, and I'm really enjoying this beer.
Yeah, it's so it's 6%, 70 IBUs. It doesn't drink that big, obviously.
No, when you said 70, that surprised me.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of it, in late editions. There is some bittering to it, but it definitely is throwing off a lot more tropical fruit, and it's crystal clear beer too. And again, nothing against the hazy stuff. I actually am a fan of it on some levels. Still like the clear stuff better.
Yeah.
But again, I love to see beer, get pushed to whatever degree it is, and people can love it or hate it or whatever. But I do love a lot of the tropical and the stone fruit kind of flavors that this beer throws off. And I think for hop heads or somebody who wants to session, or somebody who doesn't really love bitter beers but they can tolerate them, I think this is that for us that we're making, this is our quintessential gateway beer.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you hear 70 IBUs and maybe think, ooh, that might scare you off, it really doesn't drink like it has 70 IBUs. It's very smooth. It's got a complex flavor going on in it. It's got a lot of that different hop variety, some citrus in there too. I like everything that's coming out of this. What if someone wanted to eat something while drinking this? What would you say would pair well?
Yeah, so I think you go a lot of different directions with this. So here, we're on a college campus, right? So we're trying to really, hit those American staple foods. Burgers, wings, fries, quesadillas, pizzas,
right.
Wings. If I didn't say that already, those kinds of things. But I think this beer would go really well, with wings. And I think, spicier wings. And then again, something with, something that's a little bit fattier, or heavier, like a burger it could go well with, as long as the burger's not overly topped with something or something like that. But I think the beer just lays down and plays well in the sandbox with everything. And like I said, this one has been just the lead dog for us. And just, some of these people, and customers that have come in and that have no idea and hate hoppy beer and don't even put it in front of me. And, again, it takes 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10 months, whatever. But eventually, now it's kind of cool that we've got some people that just absolutely said they wouldn't. And, and now, this is, maybe this and then the next notch up, they're willing to give it a try. But I think, as you mentioned, what does it pair well with? I think that's a great way to kind of introduce, even these hoppier beers to some of these younger people is, kind of the opposite effect of if they don't like the hops, they're getting to wash it down with food,
right?
Comparatively to the other direction,
right?
So it's like, if you don't like the hoppy stuff, you can just take another bite of your your burger or whatever it is, and kind of mellow it out a little bit more that way. So I think this beer, personally, obviously, I think it complements, some of the, the fattier things on the menu. The more protein-driven kind of beef, derivatives of our menu. But I think for a lot of our students who are trying to ease into the hoppy stuff, I think it's kind of the opposite. They're using the food to kind of to level it out. But for anybody who enjoys hops, I think like you said, when you see 70 IBUs, you're going to see real quick that it doesn't stand up like that.
No, I always tell people, even if you think you don't like hoppy beers, at least try it. At least try it, because there are so many people who've come into where I work as a day job, and I've turned them on to IPAs because I found them the specific kind of hops that they might like. Like, they just hear hop and they think they're all hop, the one thing.
Right.
There's such a variety out there, and I think you guys do a fantastic job with this as, like what you were saying, as a gateway beer into the hop market of sorts. It's just drinks smooth. It's full flavored. It's got a lot going on in it. Very, very good beer. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anything I might have forgotten to cover about the beer? Inspiration behind it? Anything that I might have missed?
No, like I said, it was this was a beer that a student here. We had this thing called just like a little brewapalooza at my house, and everybody kind of brought what they had, and it was me very early on. This was before I even knew Aaron. This was probably a year and a half before we actually opened up as a brewery, and everybody kind of brought their best, and we just sat on my back patio and we brewed a bunch of beer, and then we tried a lot of stuff that everybody brought. And of the 5 or 6 of us that were there, I thought this beer was really close, like really, really close, to being something pretty special. And then we sat down, and it was the first beer that, when we kind of, on our pilot system, sat down with Henry and Aaron and I, and we sat down and said, all right, let's take a look at this and figure it out. and Aaron put his little touches and tweaks on it. I kind of threw in what I loved about it and what I didn't want to see go away, and Henry had his opinions as to the simplicity of it. And the funny thing about this beer is it's simple.
Right.
I mean, it's not overly complicated. We're not throwing every spice in the drawer at it. It's just finding the right times and the right additions and the right grist, and it just it ends up being a really, really special. I think a really special beer and a nice one to have on tap at all times here for us.
Absolutely, very crushable. Thank you very much. Tune in next week for a all new episode of the Taproom Exclusive here at the Jolly Scholar.